everyone. Welcome to ACL X2, the Twin Journey. Today we have a friend of ours that we actually grew up with and fellow North Queenslander, Sarah. So thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
So I think we were going to start with Sarah. So obviously North Queensland girls, same age, everything, and similar stories. So we thought that we were a bit unique, but then obviously Sarah contacted us, and another person that actually ruptured her ACL back in March, and it was a skiing injury. So Sarah, if you want to tell us about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, skiing injury. So I live in Colorado in USA and I love to ski. I've been skiing for quite a long time now, feeling quite confident. And if you're not familiar with skiing, there are different levels. There are green runs, blue runs, and black runs. The black runs have sort of an expert and a advanced expert. And so it's like a diamond and a double diamond. So to give you an idea. And we call them black, double black. So I am pretty familiar with doing a lot of black runs, no problem. And a double black's occasionally, not confidently all the time, because they're all very different at different resorts. Anyway, to give you an idea, I had come off a cliff and it was a small cliff. And everyone's like, what do you mean a small cliff?
Yeah, sounds dramatic. Tiny cliff.
Yeah. It's like, what's a small cliff? And it's like, well, it's a small for an expert skier, right? It was very basic. You drop down, and I had let my daughter go off ahead, and I kind of I always wait for her to go ahead so I can kind of drop in and go a little faster. So that's what I had done this particular day. It was at Steamboat Springs, which is a resort if people know many of the ski resorts. And so it was towards the end of the season, end of March. It was going to be our last trip. Of course, it's how it happens. And as a result, it's kind of spring skiing conditions. So it was quite wet, sticky snow. I came around and, she said something to me. I turned my shoulder. And again, if it had not been sticky snow, I wouldn't have caught my ski. But because it was the way it was, I dug my ski in and I hyperextended. So if you can imagine two skis, and I hyperextended on a twist, and I managed to not only fracture my tibia plateau, but I also tore my meniscus and also fully ruptured my ACL, grade 3. So
a good job.
Did the whole thing. Yeah. Don't do things in halves. Of course, me being the crazy person I am, refusing to let that get me. I was upside down at the time. I kind of laughed it off, pulled myself off, took my skis off, and decided to get back into them. And did a turn and realized everything slid out. And I knew I'd done quite extensive damage at that point, and I had to call patrol to take me down. So that was
That's cool. I always like watching those people going down.
I know. I usually am like, oh, not me.
As long as it's not me.
You would have done something silly, but because it was on a blue run, and had I'd gone down with friends through the trees, as they call it, on a sort of a double black, they call it. I think I would have been fine because I would have been locked in. I would have been concentrating, but because I was just sort of laissez-faire, last run of the day, last run of the season, I was too relaxed. So
typically that's how it happens. And so from there, obviously, you knew something wasn't right. You have had some scans done to show the full damage of everything. So, and then obviously from here, you have chosen a conservative path, haven't you?
Correct. So the first thing I did is I researched straight away. I have a background in psychology and neuroscience, so I'm very familiar with research and how to read papers and statistics and all that fun stuff and validity. So I was able to go and have a quick look straight away once I got over the sadness of having to sit and not move, which is, big shock. But yes, did that and found right away that I could, it was possible to heal it, even though, I guess we can get more into detail that later, but the blood supply isn't as plentiful as other parts of the leg and everything. So I did learn that I could take that non-invasive approach. And so I immediately contacted an Australian. Again, I feel more comfortable with Australians, but an Australian who had some good understandings on how to, work towards healing that ACL and looked into bracing protocols.
Okay. And I mean, I personally, I don't know a whole lot about bracing. So what did that involve?
Yeah. And it was interesting that it was never really suggested to me actually when I had my, but was this research or was this suggested to you through this physio in Australia? Yep.
No, so it was through research. So I researched all options. Yeah. Well, it's hard because you don't know, right? If you've never done it before, how do you know which way to go? And so I took that approach of, I know nothing about this. I want to know everything there is to know. And I kind of immerse myself in everything ACL, not just the structure and, how to read the MRIs correctly and accurately. And, also that margin of error that is plentiful even for professionals. So I looked into a lot of that, and the more I learned, then I started to realize this bracing. And so the bracing protocol, there is one that is, can be quite controversial because there is issues when it comes to DVT, and that's like almost a very tight bracing protocol. And that means your knee is locked in that position while you're sleeping, showering.
For a period of time, or how long is that?
Yeah.
Is that?
I think it's about 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
quite a long time. And they have to take blood thinners to do that. So that kind of turned me off a little bit. Yeah. So the blood thinners, I'm
that's
like,
quite a commitment. And
that's right. It is a commitment, and you're walking funny, and it throws off your gait a little bit. And, I just thought that's not something I wanted to do. So then I found Kieran Richardson, who I put you guys in touch with, and he was really interesting looking at a lot of his own research and people he was following that had also done some really interesting studies and, looking at systematic reviews. So that's kind of where I went. And I do take that scientific approach with that holistic thought pattern, I guess, or a school of thought. And so that's why I ended up going that direction, because I thought, oh, this is good. It's better than, for me, it was better than surgery, knowing what they'd have to do and what that period of time would be for me to heal yet again, because you need to heal. A lot of people don't know this. You kind of have to heal to a point that swelling has gone down and you have a bit more range of movement before you're able to go for surgery. So it was almost like 2 healings for me. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I think what we can take away from this,
when you
Danny,
spoke,
sorry, is that we really need to put more research into what we do in future, and probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're making me feel a bit bad here, Sarah. I actually just I put a lot of confidence into medical experts, and I think I think in actual fact, I think it's honestly, I think that what you're doing, what you've done is the better way to do it, because I think you need to help ourselves and to understand it. And I was the surgeon I spoke with just said I would be a good candidate for conservative, and I was like, oh, okay, sure, perfect, sounds good. But I think, I mean, what you've done, actually, look, credit to you, because I think that's actually a really good way to do it. And I'm a bit embarrassed to say it didn't actually occur to me, but anyway, you live and learn. And but I think that's that's great. Your understanding of it, I think that's really good if you can have that that knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. You do put your faith in the medical and professionals who have studied more than you. And I did that, not to get too much into detail, but with my children. I've had 2 children. The first child, I put my faith in the medical community, and they went on to, push me into a C-section, which was really unnecessary, I learned later. And so after that, that kind of shook my faith, and I thought, well, I already have a background in research. I can look this stuff up. Once I got into it, I thought, okay, second one, I had a completely unmedicated birth, and I had the most amazing experience ever. Both 9-pounders, so both very big.
Wow.
Yeah, and
you're not for that one.
I'm not big. To give you an idea, I'm 42 kilos before I had my first, and 45 when I had my second. So yeah, so very little. Wow. Yeah, and they threatened me with CPD, which is cephalic proportion. Basically, it's you're misaligned your pelvis in the head. So that's anyway.
That does sound like a miracle what you did there second time around, because I tell you what, I was told that my child was going to be sort of an 8-pounder, and I put my hand up and said, that sounds really painful, and I just don't think, and I'm like you, we're small, we're petite, and and the doctor thought, look, it would probably cesarean would be a good option, and I was very quick to roll with that. Agree to it.
Right. But that was just an example.
That does sound amazing.
It kind of made me start thinking, and I thought, listen, I think professionals in this area are fantastic, but they're still human, and they are reading certain papers and things, and that's why it's called an opinion. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to form my own opinion based upon more recent science, because sometimes when you meet these surgeons, yes, they do a little bit of, education, continuing education, but they may not be well versed in what the latest research is out there as well as I could be. So that's why I took that time. So don't feel bad, Denny. I think, you just didn't have that background, and I thankfully had already learned from my mistake, and with having children, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to look into this before I jump into which professional I speak to.
So Sarah, we're definitely down the track to follow, how your, the progress is going. And I'm not sure if you've had scans since then, but certainly from, having been, told that this is what's happened to you, with what you followed, is it just a lot of physio? Is that sort of what the path that you've gone down has involved?
Absolutely, yes, lots of physio. And so what's really interesting about the physio, so at first I followed the bracing protocol. I did that for about 6 weeks, and then they end up saying you could stay for a little longer. So I ended up going 6 weeks, and then for the first 4 weeks it was on a tighter, almost because of my full tear or my full rupture. They suggested, and because of the bundles, and if people understand much about this, the two bundles, they were completely in disarray. They had exploded per se, and they were nowhere near each other from what we could see on this particular MRI, which honestly was not taken at the right millimeters in order to get the splices correctly. So if anyone knows much about this, you should specify what you want in your MRI to get a very good idea of exactly what it all looks like. So that's a little tidbit for you. But from what I could see, it was pretty bad. So they said, okay, let's try to keep you at a nice bent angle, but not to the point where you'd need to take any thinners, and see where we go from there. Yeah. Okay. So we did that, and then we released slightly, and then, which was really uncomfortable, I have to say. It was very difficult. I was supposed to sleep with it at night. I hope Mr. Richardson's not going to watch this, but I didn't. I took it off. But my knee was so, what's the word? Not static's not the right word, but just very stuck in that position. And so everything was very stiff. Yes. And so it didn't unbend or anything. So that was good. And so then once I got through that and it was ready time to straighten out, it took some time to straighten out. So, but then it started to it felt better and better each time, did all physio, did specific protocols on what the physio was telling me to do to regain that range of movement and to try to get that confidence back. I never had any instability, which was a very good sign. There was a lot of swelling, so that swelling had to go down. And when you're talking about fully bent, like when you're fully like an extension and, you're talking about the extension, I could extend okay. But when I try to bend it, there's a lot of pain behind the knee. So slowly and surely worked that out. And now I'm back to running. And it's been 7 months. So quite some time, or a little bit more than 7 months. So it's been some time, but there is still a little bit of pain there. And the pain actually feels not from when I'm doing the work, but when I don't do the work. And I think, I'm not sure entirely why that is, but something about when I haven't worked out, like right now, I didn't get a chance to work out today. And I'm working out at least 3 times a week with a very extensive protocol. And I've noticed that I can feel a little achy. It's like someone saying to me, let's go to the gym, let's get some movement in there, let's make things happen.
It up. Yep. Wow. I think that's awesome. And I think, what you've done, I think it's really fascinating seeing what, your own journey. So I think we'll definitely be following up if that's okay, because I'd love to hear more. But I think for today, it's been great to hear someone's different story. And as I said, again, somebody who you're super sporty, super fit in your 40s. So, I think it's the kind of
we love that.
Yeah, we love that on board.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. I do CrossFit and skiing and volleyball and soccer, and same with you guys, getting into everything. And,
we love our sport, don't we?
Yes. Yeah. I love the sport. I've always been into that. I think that's one of the things we bonded over was soccer. Mm-hmm. So, it's just, it's multiple things, but I'd love to get more into detail about how that journey went. But it's been interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, thanks, Sarah, and we're lovely chatting, and we will definitely catch up with you, down the track and find out how your progress is going, and we can share how ours is going as well.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. All right, bye.
Bye.